Hey there, tech fans. Rick here again with another review. And today, I have the UHD-FO40 transmitter, which is part of an HDMI extension kit from our good friends over at Orei. Now, the transmitter is only half of the solution, and I'll be reviewing the transmitter today, but to complete the solution, you'll also need a receiver module, which I'll review in another clip. And the reason they're sold separately is because this single transmitter can send the same high-definition media content to multiple receivers. So you can start with a single transmitter and add as many receivers as you need to cover your locations. Now, some basic specifications on this product: it uses a fiber optic cable between the transmitter and the receiver, which allows it to send 4K ultra-high definition media content up to 40 kilometers away, again to multiple receiver units. The product can use simplex cables or duplex cables. Of course, with duplex, it'll be a shorter distance, so I always go with the simplex cable. Also, the product provides infrared remote control from those remote locations, so each of the receiver modules has an infrared receiver that will pick up those remote control signals and send those back over that same fiber cable to the primary location here to be rebroadcast to control the content you're watching. Also included is audio extraction capabilities that allow you to actually pull the audio off of the media stream being distributed and send that to a home stereo system or a soundbar for better audio quality. Finally, the transmitter unit also provides local loopback functionality, which allows you to enjoy the content here while you're simultaneously broadcasting it to those remote locations. So it's a pretty complete unit. Now, as part of this review, I always like to start with an unboxing just to show you everything that's included with the kit, and then I'll actually take a closer look at the module and explain the connections and indicators so you know exactly how to use it. And then I'll come back with some quick suggestions on really what makes this one special when you compare it to the vast majority of HDMI extenders on the market today. So let's start with the unboxing. When you pop open the box, you'll find the transmitter module. You'll find a 5-volt, 2-amp power supply. You'll plug this into any standard wall outlet. The other end has a barrel connection on it, plugs into the back of the unit. That's all the power you need to operate the product. Because it's an optical cable, you have a choice between simplex or duplex cables. They actually include both modules for either of those two cables. So if you're using a simplex cable, you can pop this one into the unit. If you're using a duplex cable, you can pop that one in. I think it's nice to include both of those. You'll also find an infrared module that will rebroadcast any of the infrared remote control signals from those locations, and you'll plug this into the module, and this will rebroadcast those remote control signals so you can control the content here at the primary site. You'll also find a bracketing kit you can use to mount this up off the ground and out of the way, and a full instruction manual that lists connection diagrams, specifications, and other details you'll need to understand about how to use this module. Now, if you stay tuned next, I'll take a closer look at it, and then I'll come back and point out some of the cool things this does that you won't find on a lot of other HDMI extension modules. Inside the kit, you'll find the transmitter, an infrared blaster module, and this is actually a transmitter module as well. This is responsible for rebroadcasting the infrared remote control signals from those remote locations to control the content you're watching, and this plugs into the transmitter on the back, and I'll show you where in a second. You'll also find two fiber optic interface modules, a simplex and a duplex. Depending on which cable you're using to connect the transmitter to the receivers, you'll pick the appropriate interface, slide it into the transmitter, connect your cable up, and you're all set. And you have a choice between the two. Now, the transmitter module itself features a full metal enclosure, which makes it incredibly durable. It also helps to minimize outside interference from causing any issues with the electronics inside. You'll notice on the top and on the side, there are cooling fins as well as holes on the side for ventilation that are designed to keep the electronics inside at a very comfortable temperature. You'll also notice mounting holes on either side that can be used with the bracketing kits to mount these up off the ground and out of the way. On the front of the unit, you'll find 3 LED indicators on the left: power, status, and ARC. When you add power to the unit, it goes through a power on self-test to make sure the electronics are working. Once it passes that test, it'll light that first LED, letting you know it's ready to use. The status indicator is telling you that you've got a good connection over the fiber optic cable to a remote receiver, so once you make that connection, that status indicator will come on. The ARC indicator lets you know if you're currently using ARC, which is a function of HDMI for audio, or you're using the optical connection for audio. If you turn on ARC, that light will come on, and you're using HDMI for audio. If the light's off, you're using the SPDIF connection here. These two ports are for infrared blaster connections. Because this is the transmitter, you're going to connect the infrared blaster transmitter to the IR out, so just plug it right in there. To the right of that is an SPDIF connection for any kind of optical audio you want to use with the unit. To the right of that is an RS-232 connection port. This unit can actually transfer RS-232 connections and signals between the transmitter and receiver, and there's a connection block included with the kit that makes wiring that easy. To the right of that is an upgrade port. This unit can be upgraded later on if new versions of firmware come out. You'll connect a micro USB cable from this port to your computer, push the firmware file over to it, and actually complete the installation. On the rear of the unit, you'll find a power port on the left-hand side that's used with the included power supply. Plug it into the wall, plug the barrel connector in here, and that's all the power you'll need. Two more HDMI ports right here, HDMI in. That connects up to whatever media device you'd like to share the content from with your remote locations. Standard HDMI connection. The loop out port allows you to enjoy this content here locally at this primary location by simply connecting an HDMI cable from here to a local monitor. On the right, you'll find the interface port there for your fiber optic cable. Again, pick whichever the SFPs work for you, simplex or duplex. Slide it in there, connect up your fiber optic cable, and you're good to go. Finally, there's a reset button right there. If you need to reboot the unit, hold that down for a couple of seconds. That'll force a reboot of the transmitter module, and it'll go through the power on self-test again. I hope that closer look was helpful. Now here are a few things to keep in mind when you're comparing this Orei UHD-FO40 transmitter module to other HDMI extension kits you may be considering. First of all, most of the HDMI extension kits on the market can handle 4K media content very well. And what I mean by that is they either limit the distance or they down resolution that particular content to 4K, maybe 30 frames a second. Some of the kits out there can't even handle 4K. They can only transmit 1080p content. This can handle full 4K content, 60 frames a second, uncompressed media, and it's going to handle that very, very well for long distances. The reason this is going to do such a good job with that is because it's based on a fiber cable. LAN cables have a limitation on the bandwidth of the media content they can actually transmit. So one of two things is true with a LAN connection. Either it's a very short distance for high resolution content, or it's a longer distance for lower resolution content. You kind of have to compromise one of those two. Because this is using a fiber optic cable, this can transmit 4K ultra high definition media content. I still can't get past it, 40 kilometers. So whether you've got a DVD player, a game console, a security camera, whatever it happens to be that you want to transmit to a remote location, this can handle it. The fact that it also does audio extraction capabilities gives you another benefit because you can strip the audio component from the media you're sending and pass that along to a soundbar for better quality audio. And finally, I love the fact that it does local loopback because it allows me to enjoy the content here while I'm simultaneously broadcasting it to whatever remote locations are receiving it, so I can continue to enjoy the content while I'm simultaneously sending it to my remote locations. And again, the kit is incredibly easy to use. All the components you need to get started are included, and with a few simple connections, you can be up and running in no time. So it's a very sophisticated kit that uses fiber optics for the connection topology between the transmitter and receiver, and I think it pretty much handles anything you could need today for transmitting media for long distances. So I hope you found this overview helpful, and until next time, stay nerdy.